Hey, Chicago, what do you say? This is the CHGO Cubs Podcast, and we are flying the W again. The Cubs have won 5 out of the last 7. We just did the watch-along. The vibes were high, and boy, oh boy, going into an off day, I'm just going to say it, I'm going to be as delusional as I've been all season, undoubtedly.
As is your right.
If ever there was a time to do it, this is the time to do it.
Jared Wyllys and Kevin Wells, Luke Stuckmeyer still in Mexico, and Ryan will join us from the ballpark. Yes, Luke is in Mexico. Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. Before we start, obviously we're going to talk about this game. We're going to talk about the offense. We'll talk about the bullpen. I thought the bullpen was really impressive today. But before we start, hit the like button for the Cubs. For once, for the Cubs, they won a game. They won a series. They've won back-to-back series. They've won 5 of the last 7 games. Hit the like button for them. Hit the like button for us. Hit the like button for CHGO. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Tell your friends, all right? And then also, I've said this the last 2 days, we got a watch party next week against Cleveland in Hickory Hills at Primetime Bar and Grill. And I'm telling you, let's see, they have 2 games. It's a Wednesday. So if they win the next 4 games, we will go into this watch party winners of 6 in a row. If they win they win every game going into that watch party, they'll be winners of 6 in a row. And so you're not going to want to miss the watch party when they've won 6 in a row.
Exactly. And like we talked about during the watch along toward the end there, potentially you could be watching the game where do we get our math right? Either they will get to 500 or pass 500 at that point. Either way, Wednesday is going to be a good day. A great day to join the CHGO Cubs crew at the watch party.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's a free event to come to. Just RSVP at allchgo.com. Also, we have the Cubs Yankees takeover September 6th. It's our last takeover of the season. Hopefully Rizzo is healthy. If he's not healthy, hopefully he's at least there. They're going to play the tribute video. He'll come out. We'll all shed a few tears together in the bleachers. Should be a good time. It's probably been one of the most anticipated series of the year just because Rizzo is coming back to Wrigley. So yeah, you can buy the ticket at allchgo.com. The Chicago Cubs, guys, winners of 5 of 7. Javier Assad, more of the same today, but the offense picked him up, man. He gives up the run in the first inning, but Michael Busch responds with a solo homer in the bottom of the first, which kind of I don't know. I won't say it shifted momentum completely, but it definitely made you feel a little bit better because with a guy like Joe Ryan on the mound, when that happened, I was like, oh, here we go. Admittedly, in my soul, that's how I felt. But then Busch hitting that homer, you felt like, okay, we're back to square game. Can Assad kind of lock in? He only gave up another run after that, but the offense picked him up again even after that. That was a 3rd or 4th inning where 5 walks, and it was all started by Pete Crow-Armstrong.
That was the 3rd inning when Twins starter Joe Ryan had to leave the game. It turned out to be right forearm tightness for him, and the Cubs capitalized. And we talked about it during the watch along, but that's bad luck for the Twins. That's some misfortune for them. But if you're the Cubs, you have to take advantage of something like that when a team has to unexpectedly go to their bullpen early in a game. And that's completely what the Cubs did. They had quality at bats. They were drawing walks, taking advantage of some passed balls there, and made it count. So that's what you need to see them do in a moment like that. And I'm looking at the comments. I see James. I agree. That turned the game. That 3rd inning when Ryan left and the Cubs capitalized. That's absolutely correct. And speaking of the comments, Cody, we're already getting some beer bat requests, and in fact one who said they will not hit the like button unless they see the beer bat.
Okay, fine. twist my arm, guys.
See, and now Carl, all the way from Alaska, wants to see the beer bat.
Okay. All right, Carl. Well, I'm going to pour it. Kevin, how you feel about this game, man?
I'm feeling pretty good, Cody, and it's because I wasn't sitting here sweating out another win. You know, this is back-to-back games now where all three facets came through. Again, you know, offensively, you got guys in scoring position. Did you get a little bit of help? Sure.
Yeah.
Joe Ryan being hurt, you're never going to root for injuries. That sucks for him. He's been arguably the Twins' best starting pitcher this year. His baseball savant is off the charts. And looking at his past numbers, 6 1/3, 6 innings, 6 innings, 5 1/3, 5 2/3, 5 2/3, 6 innings, 6 innings. 7. I mean, he's been a stable force in that rotation all season. You got a little bit of luck today. You took advantage of it. You beat a really good team. You beat a team in the playoff picture. The Twins are still in the wild card picture in the American League, which is what's much stronger than the National League to this moment in time. So it feels good. I mean, and there's a lot of work to be done still. You are still 3 under 500. You're still sitting in 5th place. I think now you're a half game up depending on what happens with the Reds tonight. So a lot of work to be done. Yeah. But overall, there's a lot of reasons to feel good about where this team is offensively now. Everybody's hitting again. It doesn't feel like anybody's in a significant slump, and it feels like you're getting contributions from the bullpen, guys like Pablo Lopez and Tyson Miller, guys who are DFA'd, who have found new life here at Wrigley Field and have really come on and played very strong. So without further ado,
right, we've got
let's do the beer bat, and then
predictions.
we'll do the beer bat, and then we'll bring down our delusion.
So
a little bit.
We have a range of predictions in the chat.
Yeah.
The short end is 9.9 seconds, all the way up to, I think I saw 14.1.
Yeah.
So
Godfather says 10.3. James says 11. You know, people saying I'm out of practice. You must have missed the video I put up on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok on Sunday after they won 3 out of 4 against the Cardinals. I think the Cody Beerbat Twitter account tweeted that it was around 11 and a half seconds. So
yeah. I think
shout out to that guy, by the way.
I like Godfather's
you can get
prediction.
sub 11 on this one.
Okay. Are you ready?
Here goes Delmendo. Quality chug.
I really wish the Cubs would just win so many more games so we could do that all the time.
Yeah, keep doing it.
Just don't lose the rest of the season. Okay. As always, this beer bat, I'm going to give it to Ian Happ because he hit that 2-run homer to really push the lead out. It definitely felt like the game was won when he did that. And he'd been slumping a little bit over the last couple of weeks, honestly. I started to see the slander come back that we saw at the beginning of the year. We know he's a streaky player, but he, does what he did. He does what he's been doing this year, at least. That's his 18th homer of the year. To me, he's been as consistent as you could ask for someone on this team. So, yeah, I'll give it to Happer. All right, here we go. Ready?
Fire it up.
There we go.
And he's off. And yes, it is Jorge Lopez, Carter Hawkins. Yes.
Shout out Blue Moon.
Cody around the corner and done.
Wow, 10.48.
See,
I eyed that pretty well, too. I think it's an exact 10.48.
That impressive on both ends. The chug itself, but Sarah also hitting it on the nose. So there we go.
Credit to Godfather.
Yeah,
he was close. 10-3.
He was close.
He called
Gerard
for
in the chat, he had just 10 seconds flat.
Yeah.
All right.
And yes, Barb, we are live.
We are live.
We are live.
So anyway, I guess, you look at the standings right now. It's like everyone's playing a day game today, so we're still waiting for teams to, play their games. But as we sit here right now, the Cubs are in 4th place, 8.5 back in the division, 5.5 back in the wild card. As we speak, Arizona's up 4-1 on the Guardians, which is not good for us. So I still think, because we just, zoom out a little bit, I still think that you can't really take this so-called magical run to make the playoffs seriously until you get to 500. You're 3 under. You can't let up the gas. You got to win these 2 games against the White Sox, and if you don't, honestly, this series against the Twins really just doesn't mean anything. And so You have to sweep the White Sox, and to me, you have to win the series against Cleveland next week to at least start having the conversation, because all the teams in front of them that are in playoff position right now are over 500, and you got to at least get there. Because
the unfortunate reality of the way they played in May and June is that even continuing to play at sort of a winning pace that they have is probably not going to be enough to make up the ground that they lost, because it puts so much on you. You're depending on several other teams in the National League to falter, or to even to have like an outright collapse. And that's a lot to be sort of wishing for or hoping for or counting on, because you can't really control that. We talked a little bit during the watch along about the balanced schedule and the effect that has on, instead of getting to play Arizona or the Giants or even the teams in your division like the Reds and Pirates that you need some games against right now, you're playing Minnesota and Cleveland and the White Sox. So yeah, you've got to be at the pace that you've been on, while at the same time you need some of these other teams to falter a little bit.
And I didn't notice, I guess the Diamondbacks and the Guardians had a doubleheader today, and the Diamondbacks already won the first game of the doubleheader. So, I'm looking at the wild card standings right now. The Diamondbacks are actually, they've like the Braves have fallen back to the third spot at this current moment. It's very tight up there though. Like Diamondbacks 62 and 52, Padres 62 and 52, so they're tied. Then the Braves, and then you have the Mets, the Cardinals. So that third spot is still realistically there. It's going to be really hard for me to believe that the Braves will fall apart any more than they already have. I know they've been kind of a disappointment this year because their offense hasn't been anywhere close to last year, but
I mean, they're missing. You're missing the MVP of the league. That'll happen.
Right. That'll happen, right? Yeah.
But you've got 3 teams between you and the Braves right now. So that's asking a lot, that the Mets, the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Giants, 4 teams in between you and the Braves, that all of those you need something to go wrong there. Even if you continue winning, because it's not going to be enough to gain the ground that you need.
Yeah. So, again, I fan how I want to fan. I feel happy in the fact that we're seeing fun developments happening, like Pete Crow-Armstrong, and I feel excited about certain guys in our bullpen. I'm happy to see Michael Busch hit another homer today, and it's at least giving me some sort of optimism going into next year. Is the season over? No. Have I almost accepted that it probably is? I'm getting there, absolutely, because you're running out of games, but I am also sitting here saying that it's not over yet, because I've seen crazier things happen.
And it's not over yet. You're 3 under 500 right now, and you're playing very good baseball against good teams. So if you can continue habits and beat really bad teams in August, your schedule is fairly easy to end. You have the easiest schedule remaining in the National League to end the year. We know how good Craig Counsell's record is in September. It's not over yet. Is it out of the question? No. Is it going to happen? I would put my money on no.
Yeah.
Because you do need so many things to go right for you. I'll put it in mathematical terms. 85 wins is the threshold. You got to get to 85 wins. 84 ain't going to cut it. 85, it seems to be Bears, by the way. Seems to be that seems to be the number that you need to hit. You're at 57 wins right now. Quick math, 28 more wins to get there, and I believe you have about 46 games left.
45 games left.
28 and 17 gets you to
85 wins.
Gets you to 85 wins. Can you do that? I think it's absolutely possible.
Sure.
The way the Cubs played early on in the season, the way the bullpen is coming to everyone seems to be kind of falling into their roles right now. Pete Crow-Armstrong is hitting. Dansby's starting to hit again. Guys who were letting you down at the beginning of the year are now coming through, and they're coming through against pretty good teams. The Orioles. Now you're going to have another test in the Guardians next week. But the Twins, it seems to be building together. But I've been let down before by this team. And they're going to have to do it on the field.
It might simply be a matter of too little too late. You're playing really well now, but the hole you dug for yourself is just too deep.
Yeah. Well, we can keep discussing this after we do these ads. Prize Picks. I love Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. All right. If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every week, especially during the Olympics, from lowering select player stat projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. Prize Picks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. All right. I love Prize Picks because kind of like what I was just saying, like they always give you like some cool promotions. Like sometimes, if we're talking baseball, just a guy to throw a pitch. I think they've had stuff like when Paul Skeens made his debut, they had something close to that where if he threw a pitch, you won your square for your lineup, cool stuff like that. And then it brings more juice to the game, right? If you are out on the Cubs making the playoffs, well, to give you a reason to watch, put some players that you really like and see if it hits. You know what I mean? That's what's given me any kind of, outside of just pure delusion of hoping this team gets better, but just watching players that I'm intrigued about for next year, right? You can do that on Prize Picks while maybe making some money at the same time. So download the app today. Use code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Barb's asking to get me a beer if I'm old enough to drink. I am old enough to drink, but I'd rather have a Penrose seltzer.
Ooh.
Penrose Brewing, Geneva, Illinois. Seltzups, hard seltzers, real fruit, led by Lemon Seltzup, a national gold medal-winning hard seltzer with real lemons. They created our unique twist on a lemon shake-up with house-made hard seltzer and pureed lemons for a throwback to a warm weather and county fairs. It's also available in the Lemon Tee-Up, a half-and-half inspired hard seltzer, Arnold Palmer-like, just released this year. The Transfusion Seltzup, which is inspired by a popular golf cocktail with grape, ginger, and lime. Penrose is available at your local beverage retail, or you can visit Penrose's taproom in Geneva, Illinois. For more information, go to penrosebrewing.com or follow them on social media at Penrose Brewing.
Speaking of that tap room, I've been there several times. That's a good spot there in Geneva to go hang out. So if you're anywhere near Geneva or just feel like taking a little bit of a trip, it's worth it. Go check out the good people at Penrose.
I'm out in the Northwest Burbs a lot, so I need to get over there. But I have had the seltzers; they are really good.
And I saw Barb also requested that I be given a Blue Moon. I have one. Blue Moon sponsored our watch along this afternoon, so been enjoying this Blue Moon.
She calls me alligators.
Yeah, she calls me Alligator Man. I can't remember why, to be honest. Sorry, Barb. But I'm still entertained by it. But.
Wait, she calls you alligator?
Yeah,
she does. Because there was I remember that episode.
There was like a news story.
There was a Florida man news story, and some guy like attacked an alligator, and he just coincidentally kind of looked like Jared.
Yeah.
And so Barb since then has been saying
Gator
that.
Rob.
Gator who?
Yeah, she calls me Alligator Man every time I'm on the show. So
I mean, hey, if you're cool with it,
I'll take it. No complaints.
You're fine with it.
Yeah, there you go.
No complaints. But yeah, Barb, I've got a Blue Moon.
We're vibing here on a Wednesday afternoon. The Cubs have won 5 of 7, and the sun is out. It's beautiful in this great city. I mean, why would Luke want to go to Mexico when he could just be here? But I won't argue with him. Okay, so we're kind of talking about the offense there. I want to talk about the pitching, but I also want to talk about the inning where they scored the 3 runs, and it was all ignited by Pete Crow-Armstrong. And I know we've been talking about PCA a ton so far this week. Maybe it's because it's like one of the guys that I think fans are, we're excited about, then out on because he struggled so much. And then this month specifically, and just even in he started showing flashes in July. He has really started to, get some excitement because he's hitting, and to go with that defense. And I thought Was it the third or the fourth inning that they scored those runs?
The third, yeah.
Or third,
yeah, the
okay.
third, because they went into that down
2-1.
2-1, and they ended up, they took a 4-2 lead in that inning. Yeah.
So what happened was PCA was the first batter of the inning, and he was down 0-2 in the count against Joe Ryan. Then he works it to 3-2, and then he hit a solid single on the second base side, 100 miles per hour up, through the hole. And I thought that was just so impressive based off what we've seen from him in his, not only in this hot stretch, but also like when he was really struggling, going through the struggles of trying to learn how to hit major league hitting or major league pitching. To see him work an 0-2 count to 3-2 and then get a hit or just get on base in general was, I think it's a testament to what we've been talking about. On top of that, he gets on and then he steals second base. So like that's the value. That's the stuff that I've been talking about, what I talked about yesterday on the show. Like this guy, if he hits, if he's a league average hitter, if he's above league average hitter, this guy, we talk about how the Cubs don't have stars. Like everyone's been saying that in this chat on social media. If the Cubs don't have stars, if this guy can hit like he's been doing in August on a consistent basis in 2025, if he shows he does that these last 2 months of the year, and you go into 2025 as a leadoff man for your guy or for your team, potentially, he might be your star legitimately, because he could be, with the value that he brings to the Cubs, if he's above league average hitter, he could be a 6 or 7 WAR player, in my opinion.
Yeah, and a part of what makes a star in baseball is somebody who's a dynamic player who generates some excitement, so that people either want to tune in to watch the Cubs because they want to see what PCA is going to do, or they're watching highlights the next morning or whatever, so that they can see whether it's a stolen base or a great catch in the outfield or quality hitting. Like, I think that potential is there for sure. And that I'm glad you highlighted that at bat in particular in the third inning, because it was exactly the kind of at bat earlier in the season that he would have a couple of bad swings, chasing a little bit, swinging at stuff that's kind of low and inside, falling behind in the count, and then just really taking himself out of the at bat. But then the growth at the plate that you're seeing is the way that, he still fell behind, but he ended up putting together a nice at-bat there that ends with a single and then eventually leads to a run because of what he can do on the base paths. So the next step you want to see him take, whether it's this season or next year, is can he do a better job of getting ahead in the count more often as opposed to falling behind and then having to fight his way back.
So after he steals second, Christian Bethancourt, who I don't know if it's another player just liking Christian Bethancourt's body at this point, because what he's given the Cubs since he got here has continued to blow my mind. But either way, and at this point, Joe Ryan has left the game because of the injury, right? He works a walk against Trevor Richards. And then Ian Happ hits a ground ball. It's a fielder's choice. They get an out, but PCA moves to third, and you have Ian Happ on first. Then Ian Happ in the next at-bat with Michael Busch up there, he steals second. So you have second and third. He ends up walking Michael Busch, all right? And then Seiya Suzuki walked to load the bases. He walked, and I think the bases were loaded. And PCA came in on the bases loaded walk. And then Paredes came up, hit the sac fly to give the Cubs a lead. And then a wild pitch allowed the Cubs to score a run. Like, the Twins just kind of shot themselves in the foot
a few times.
A few times today, for sure.
Yeah.
Tauchman ended up walking after that. Another wild pitch allowed runners to move up. Horner walked after that. It was so bad that Richards couldn't even get out of the inning. They bring in another guy, and Swanson grounded out. But either way, the Cubs scored 3 runs all off that, and I just feel like it was all kind of ignited by PCA, just starting the inning off with a hit, stealing second, and just showing what he can do offensively, the value that he can bring. And he hit another ball to the warning track today, hard. And I know it's a warning track fly ball, whatever. The only reason that I'm excited about it is because you're starting to see him hit the ball hard. And that was something when he was really struggling, he's pulling the ball to the second base side, not good contact. He's striking out. His K rate's lower in August. He's hitting the ball really hard in these games. I know it's a small sample size, but you're seeing a little snippet of what he could be, and whether you want to give him credit for igniting the inning or not, that's up to you. But for me, I felt like his pressure that he put on the defense in that inning kind of set it up. On top of the fact that the Twins just, like Richards, just couldn't throw strikes and he threw a couple wild pitches. But it's one of those things that imagine whenever Counsell finally has the confidence to put him in that leadoff spot, that could be a massive development for the Cubs, whether it's at some point the rest of the season or next year,
Yeah. Pete is, for a little context, and because I know that he's still batting right around 200, which I know a lot of fans are going to point out because we have a lot of people who still like the batting average statistic, and there's other statistics to tell how good of a hitter is before that one, but he's hitting 205 now. A week ago, he was hitting 194.
Yeah.
A couple days before that, 188. He's quietly now on a 6-game hitting streak. He's reached base 6 games in a row. He didn't have a strikeout in the month of August until today. Had a couple today.
His bats after that weren't exactly the best. But
you know what?
Anyway.
You saw in a couple of the situations, though, that they were in, I believe, nobody on, you had a bigger lead. That's when you turn the NOS up a little bit. You see if you can crank one. So, you know what? I'm okay with it. Would I like to see him stick with the cool, concise swing that we've seen? Yeah, sure. But, he felt like he hit a power out to center field, maybe wanted to get a hold of one in the next at-bat. Fine. That's fine with me. Pete Crow-Armstrong he made a great catch in the first inning. He runs the bases incredibly well. Mm-hmm. He's an electric baseball player, man. Mm-hmm. He is going to win this team a lot of games. And I know it's hard to see with some of the glaring mistakes that happened, like the one on Saturday. Whether you want to call that a mistake or not, I think it was more just a miscommunication between a bunch of guys. He's going to win you a lot of games. His development means a lot, and you're right. As soon as he does get the green light from Counsell to maybe go into that leadoff role next year, I don't know if that's Counsell's plan because he's playing pretty well at the bottom of the lineup right now. But you're going to really see when we get the full run of PCA and a full 162 next year, if he's healthy, he's going to bring out some eye-popping numbers, some statistics you've never seen before, some Ellie De La Cruz like steal type numbers. I mean, This guy can win you a lot of games, and he's stolen you a couple runs on the base paths already this year. He's 22 of 22 now, hasn't been thrown out yet. Yeah, I think it's always best to express a little bit of caution with young players. Mm-hmm. Jackson Holliday came back up. He smoked 3 home runs in a week. Mm-hmm. Different player than PCA, different echelon of prospect, yes, but these guys take a while to develop. Major League pitching it's really hard to hit. And you faced a team that's doesn't have an elite pitching staff, but they still have a playoff caliber rotation. So loved what I saw from PCA this series. Loved what I saw from him today. He's totally got the ceiling of a 5.64 player. You're right.
And I know that it was just one at bat and he struck out twice after that, whatever. The Cubs also had a decent lead. It's because they hit homers again. And Luke likes to point this out. When the Cubs hit homers, they find ways to win games. Like Ian Happ's 2-run homer for insurance, like when they were up 4-2, it was nice to have that lead, but you also knew that this is still close. Things can happen. This Twins team is good, and their back of the bullpen is really good as well. And so when Happ hit that 2-run homer to make it 6-2, then they added some more on with, the Twins not using any of their high leverage guys. It just makes it so much easier on Craig Counsell to go to certain guys in the bullpen and just get clean innings. And that's what happened, that's why all season I've talked, I know a lot of people all season have just talked about how this bullpen is not good. But to me, the biggest problem with this team all season up until, I guess you can sense the Royals series, I guess. I think that's when they finally started playing better since the All-Star break. The offense has been the biggest problem because you put yourself in so many one-run games and you had to basically force the bullpen to be perfect. And yes, I agree. I agree in some aspects from some fans to say, well, you got to get some of those games. I do agree with that in some aspects. However, when you lead baseball in one-run games, that's a sign that your offense just ain't doing it. especially when your starting pitching has been great. So this stretch, winning 3 or 4 against the Cardinals, now you've won 2 or 3 against the Twins, like the series that they won against the Royals, like they were scoring runs in those series. The hot week before the All-Star break when they swept the Orioles and split with the Cardinals, they were scoring runs. I'm not saying you got to score 8 runs a game. I'm saying you got to score more than 1 or 2 runs a game on a consistent basis to have some wiggle room for the bullpen that you have. Yeah, and it really doesn't matter how good your bullpen is or not, in my opinion. Like if you don't score runs, you're not going to win.
Yeah, because I mean it's always the case that for any team that's struggling, it's not purely one facet of the team that is causing you to struggle. But if we're being honest with ourselves, the primary reason that they had 2 really bad months of baseball in May and June was because they couldn't score. No, the bullpen wasn't perfect and all that. Yes, of course that's true. But if you want to find one thing that caused you the most trouble, it was the offense. What's the biggest reason why that they have done better since then? They're scoring runs. They're scoring more runs. Yeah, the bullpen's still dropping some games here and there. That's always going to happen. But you are scoring more runs. You're hitting for power from some guys that you weren't getting it from in May and June. And that's why we're still sitting here the end of the first week of August. Like, still, it's a small chance, but still realistically saying there's reason to be invested in these games because they are not out of it yet.
We're going to talk about the bullpen here in a few minutes, but let me tell you about Shady Rays, all right? Here. He's been sitting here. You got, Jared, you want to put yours on?
I got a pair.
Oh, man.
Look at this.
Well, you have some glasses on, Kevin, but,
Thanks, Sarah. Producer of the year going to get me some Shady Rays so I'm not left out.
Shady Rays, brother. If you don't have Shady Rays, then you're not doing the summer right, all right? Get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. They have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. They probably have a style in your favorite team's colors. I do have a pair at home that have like blue in them. So yeah, they do. Use your own experience wearing Shady Rays. My experience with Shady Rays, guys, is going to Wrigley Field on a hot Friday 120 and having them makes it a little bit easier to deal with the heat.
Gotta have them.
You know what I mean?
Gotta have them.
For sure.
Seriously, I had 2 pairs. I lost one. I need to contact them, so maybe they send me another pair. But having the one pair I have has made my experience in the bleachers so much better because you know how the sun works, man, especially in the bleachers.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You need them.
I unfortunately know how that sun works, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that I lost my other pair. One of the cool things about them is like if they ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it. They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by their lost and broken replacements. If you don't love your shades, exchange for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back with personal and fast support. Exclusively for our listeners, and y'all watching the YouTube chat right now, exclusively, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try yourself these shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Let me tell you, what's that?
Go ahead.
We'll do the rugged road.
Yeah.
Can I keep my sunglasses on?
Yeah, keep your sunglasses. It makes you look cooler.
Rugged Road, baby. It's dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Our products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions. So whether you're on the land, in the water, Rugged Road gear built to accompany you on every adventure. A couple cool things about it. Floatability, one of the most unique features of Rugged Road coolers, their ability to always stay upright in the water. They float, never lose your drink. Lightweight design, unlike other heavy-duty coolers, Rugged Road coolers are incredibly light, making them easy to transport on any trip without compromising on performance, durability, and dependability. Crafted to handle the toughest environments, their coolers are built to last, ensuring they keep up with your adventure. The coolers are guaranteed to keep the contents cool for up to 7 days, but oftentimes much longer than that. You have a power outage, put your meat in the cooler, man. I've had to do that a few times. Works every time. CTA, so gear up when you are on your next adventure. Rugged Road coolers, reliable, durable, built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use our promo code CHGO for 10% off.
I'm telling you, their coolers look sick, and I could use one. I really could. I mean, so if you don't know, Matt Peck has a really great roof.
Okay.
And he invites me up there sometimes. No big deal.
Yeah, I was going to say, what? Well, damn,
but,
cool guy.
Wow. All right.
If I get one of these coolers, I'm going to be like, Peck, can I just come hang out on your roof? You don't even have to be there, but can I just hang out on your roof and drink beers and, look at the skyline? Because it is August, which means, we're still in the summer, but also, we know that fall is right around the corner. And then winter is coming, you know?
Yeah.
So I have to take advantage of all these warm days that we have left,
right.
you know? And, if I get one of these coolers, I want to take advantage of that. I should just go up on his roof and just enjoy the scenery that is Chicago.
Subtle thing about coolers too, not just used for keeping things cool. I like to smoke meats.
Okay.
You have to put your meat in there to rest. You have to put it in a cooler for an hour, a couple hours to rest, and it actually picks up temperature.
Mm.
I might have to try it with one of these. I don't own one of these. I might have to try it.
I've seen people do that where they will do the opposite. They'll use, because ultimately it's insulated. So, if you, instead of keeping things cool, if you've got, meats or something or some hot dogs that you made that you're trying to keep warm for, for later, that's dual purpose.
There you go.
Dual purpose.
Okay. So the Cubs bullpen, obviously Javier Assad, he went 4 innings today. I would say it was a lot of what we've seen from Javier Assad. I don't think he'd be in the rotation if Jordan Wicks or Ben Brown were healthy. He's just doing what he can right now. He's at I don't know how many innings he's officially pitched for the season, but he has to have at least be close to a career high in innings, or maybe he's already surpassed it. Off the top of my head, I don't know. That said, he gutted out 4 innings today. First 2 innings were tough. The third and the fourth inning were much better. They were quick innings. He was able to induce some soft contact, get a couple pop outs, got a couple ground balls, and he held the Twins to 2 earned runs, right? But the Cubs bullpen came in and credit to the offense for scoring runs. This is why I brought it up.
It took the pressure off of that bullpen during the 5 innings they had.
When you're up 4 runs, it allows your bullpen to kind of come in and just kind of do what they're supposed to do. And this is the Cubs bullpen today, I believe. All right. 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 0 earned, 6 Ks, 0 walks. I believe that's, correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I believe that is the Cubs bullpen today. And I think the biggest thing out of that, 0 walks from the Cubs bullpen.
That's, yeah. When you're not giving away base runners, when you're not lengthening innings on yourself, that really, really makes a big difference.
Porter Hodge did hit somebody, though, correct?
Yeah, we did have a hit batter in the
Porter Hodge did put somebody on. He hit somebody.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're right, but it didn't matter.
It's not a walk.
But that's,
based on ball.
I think the walks also, they speak to other things going wrong with your pitcher.
Also, that hit by pitch, was that the one where he leaned into it?
No, I think that was earlier. That was still earlier in the game. Was on the mound.
That was still when Assad was in the game.
Wasn't Hodge?
Hodge hit somebody, but it was not. There's 2 different hit by pitches today.
Okay.
Because that first one, when Assad was still pitching, that was the one that we kind of talked about. Should they review that one a little bit? Because he didn't quite lean into it, but he certainly didn't make any effort to get out of the way. But yeah, I think the point that you're making is right. Is your bullpen, that's 5 innings is still a lot. Even in a game where you've got a pretty comfortable lead, that's still a lot of time and a lot of opportunity for a good team to catch up and to chip away and to put pressure on you, because say you give up a couple of runs and then another run, suddenly that lead is a lot smaller, and your innings at the end of the game become high leverage innings, and it changes the way you have to pitch the end of that game, as opposed to being able to let Julian Merriweather pitch the ninth inning in a pretty low pressure spot. So the bullpen deserves a ton of credit for the job that they did today. Because one of the things that I think is tough for relief pitchers is they get a ton of attention when they blow an inning or they blow a game or they have a bad outing. Everyone talks about it. The reporters were all crowded at his locker wanting to talk to him.
Nope.
But when they pitch well, nobody says a word. It's, you only get attention for doing a bad job. And that's got to be a difficult thing to deal with. So they deserve some credit.
Frank says in the chat,
he's right.
Hodge had a 1-2-3 inning, not a hit by pitch. And I'm looking at the box
Are we
score.
thinking of Merriweather?
It was Merriweather who
Yes.
hit Martin,
Okay.
yeah. But the Wallner one that was thrown by Assad, I should have said this earlier. Like, that guy leaned into that pitch, and I will go to my grave with that one. That was absolutely atrocious that wasn't reversed, but whatever.
I was
Didn't end up
curious
mattering.
about the Javier Assad thing, Cody, because you are right. It does feel like he's approaching a career high. He's not there yet. He threw 109 innings last year. He's at 102 right now. So
he's
going to
definitely
get
going
there.
to surpass that.
His next two starts, he's going to get there.
So 21
At
starts
least.
this year for Assad. He's at 102 innings. Yeah, he's going to get close to that within the next start or two. One thing that's also interesting here is I don't know how many strikeouts he had today, but coming into the game, his Baseball Reference page says 89 strikeouts. He had 94 all of last year. So already showing some a little bit of improvement there as well. So that's
the first couple months, and this is related to Assad. Like the first couple months, everyone was so high on him, and he was huge for them in April and May because Steele was hurt, Tyone was hurt, and so you're starting pitching. The best outings you were getting were from Shota and Javier Assad.
Yeah.
He was very clutch for them early in the season, and I would even say before he even went on the injured list, he started to fade a little bit. And this is why even then when he was pitching well, I still feel like he's best. He's going to be at his best in the Cubs bullpen. He could prove me wrong. If maybe at some point maybe like he pitched well against the Royals. He had a 6-inning performance against the Royals, and he only walked like one in that game. Now, today he walked 2, so it's not the worst. He had a 6-walk game against the Cardinals a few starts ago. Like, I think everyone that is worried about him, they're worried because his command isn't there sometimes. And then he's not fooling batters either. Like, how many bats did we see today?
We saw a lot of that today, yeah.
Like, Brooks Lee is the one that I'm thinking about the most. Like, he worked like a 11 or 12 pitch at bat against him, and that just works your pitch count up. And all season, you go through the game log, man, like, he's gone 6 innings, maybe like less than 5 times, I would guess off the top of my head. And I think he's fine as a middle inning reliever, maybe even like a high leverage reliever, because we seen him do it last year some.
and how good he is with guys on base.
Right, and with how good he is on base. Like that's why his earned run average is so good. Like you look at his earned run average, it's at 3.24. And based off how fans are reacting to him right now, you would think that he has like a 70 ERA.
Right.
But, like, I think the best thing about Assad today probably was that inning, the second inning, where he allowed the first 2 runners on, but only allowed 1 run to score in that inning. And
minimized the damage.
Right, he minimized the damage. He never loses composure. I'll give him a lot of credit for that. It's just when you see him start, he's not, I guess the way that it would change my mind for him to potentially go back in the bullpen, whether it's most likely next year, just because we just don't know when Jordan Wicks and Ben Brown are going to be back. But if he starts the year in the bullpen next year, I think that he would probably have that role that Drew Smiley or Kyle Hendricks had before he was put back into the rotation.
Yeah, he'll be able to give you long relief, maybe even piggyback a start with somebody,
or just come into the game like he did today, like Smiley did today, and just pitch 8 inning.
Right. Yeah. Whenever you need that, or as inevitably happens when a starter gets injured and you need somebody that can step into the rotation, he can
make a few starts too,
and he's going to come out there and do that. I think that's, for now at least, that will will be the perfect role for him,
Right.
provided that they go into spring training and all that with everybody healthy and things lined up the way that you want them to be lined up. I think that is.
And who
that's the
knows,
right spot for him.
maybe this season is good for him in terms of, going into an off season and trying to find a way to be able to be more effective for more than just 2.5, 3 months, again, he's about to surpass a career high in innings pitched, so
yeah, because
as someone on the outside, I don't know why he is faded in general. I do think there's been some luck on his side in terms of not giving up runs, but there's a reason that the Cubs led 4-2 and Craig Counsell took him out after the 4th inning.
Yeah, because that is, if you want to look at him as a long-term starting option, somebody who struggles to give you 4 or 5 innings as consistently as Assad has done, you can't rely on that in the long term. That's not what you want your rotation, because that really taxes your bullpen. Because you really need your starters at least capable of going like 6. So yeah, I think there's work to be done on his command so that he can last longer in his starts for
Absolutely.
sure.
I think why I've seen a lot of comments pushing back on optimism and Cubs optimism, but I think Javier Assad is one of the reasons you want to have optimism at this point in the year, right? The Cubs have since the All-Star break, a top 5 ERA, starting rotation ERA in baseball at 3.54. And Assad is one of those guys that is right on he's right on the line of maybe not being a starter.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's still giving you 4 innings, that's better than nothing. That's a luxury item, right? Like, those are the reasons that you're looking at the optimism and why you think they still have the chance that they do. Their rotation has been crazy good all season.
They've carried him all season. Yeah.
And Assad has been a huge part of that. Even if he's falling off, he's still a 2-WAR player this year as a fringe starting pitcher.
Yeah.
Like, as a guy that's value, man. That's really, when you look at it in a vacuum, and when you look at guys who need to come up and make contributions to the big league club, and you kind of don't know where you're plug and play, you're moving them all over the place. He's been great in both roles. He's been even better as a starting pitcher. But is his future there with the Cubs? Probably not. It's more of the spot starter stuff. But that's the reason we have optimism right now, is because every time he takes the mound, you still feel pretty good about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's just you'd like to get more length. Like Godfather said in the chat, like, if you're a starter and a starter that goes 4 innings is a waste of time. Like, I agree, man. Like,
that is true.
You need your starter to at least go 5, at very least.
That's what you're hoping for. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
but against good teams, 4 innings is not a bad thing. I mean, it's not ideal.
Right. I think the best thing that I can say, though, is that despite what feels like the ineffectiveness compared to the first 2 months of the year, like, still find a way to keep the Cubs in the game. So,
yes.
You know, again, with an off day tomorrow, it's not the biggest deal in the world that he only went 4 innings. And you only, like, real high leverage reliever they used, I guess they used 2, was Hodge and Merriweather. And Merriweather hadn't pitched in the series. And, I think Hodge pitched on Sunday was the last time he pitched. Maybe he pitched Monday.
Hodge?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I think he pitched on Monday.
Yeah. So, and that was just for like one batter, I thought, too. Wasn't even like a
short.
full.
Yeah. It was short.
So, it's fine. And I like the way Counsell manages the bullpen. Like, I really think it's a lot different compared to David Ross.
I love the way Counsell manages pitching in general.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any heartburn when he goes out to make a pitching change. He's, there's a couple that I disagree with early on in the year. That's part of being, a baseball watcher and covering the team and being a fan of the team. It's, you're never going to agree with everything, but I have no complaints with how he's done that.
Okay. I'm not going to say the line that I've said the last 2 days, but Ryan Herrera is here. There he is. Does he look like he's in a stall? Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to actually exit and rejoin again so Cody can reintroduce me with the line. I got kind of used to that, and I like it. The man, the myth, the legend, I think is what he would say.
I'm not going to say it.
Okay. Well,
but
maybe next week.
Maybe next week. There is always next week. Maybe Luke will say it. All right, let's start the question. Over under minute 30 for Craig Counsell's post game.
I believe it was solidly over. I think it was more like 3 minutes today.
Wow.
Three something.
All right. Well, I'm going to remember this moving forward. So after you win a series, he'll talk longer. Okay.
Just keep tabs on all that stuff.
I'm going to let these are the questions that Luke won't ask. These are the important questions. How long did Craig Counsell talk?
Yeah. Need a timer on that.
Yeah. So how's the clubhouse vibe, Ryan? They win a series. They've won back-to-back series. Happer hits a homer. Busch hits a homer. I know Happ was struggling a little bit. Did you get to get a chance to talk to him just about getting back on the right track?
No, we didn't get a chance to talk to Happ today. But to your question, like the vibes, it's kind of like what we talked yesterday, right? Like just the vibes are always good after a win. Not that like guys are like super sad or sulking around a clubhouse after a loss. It's more like, yeah, to celebrate the victories and then again move on to the next day, right? Like they got an off day tomorrow, and then they go on to the south side, face the White Sox this weekend. They got more games coming. They still got 45 more games of it coming up for the rest of the regular season at least, and they're not out of it yet. They're 3 games below 500 now. I will say, continuing to creep closer to 500. You know, guys have never not expressed their belief that they could make a push, but I do think guys can like point to the way they've played the last, the way they've started to chip away at the wild card race or the division or getting closer to 500. I think guys are able to point to real examples. So when they were saying before, like they feel like they should be playing better, they feel like they're a better team than what the record shows. Like there's an actual example now because they are playing better, and I think just overall like that, being able to do that obviously makes those guys feel good in the clubhouse and feel like they're on the right track.
Good.
Yeah, I know there some of the people in the comments are asking about Cody Bellinger, just a scheduled day off, or was this a rest him after he got a little banged up? What's the story there? Yeah,
so obviously the knee thing that happened, lunging for first base yesterday, stayed in the game. Obviously he's only DHing, so wasn't out there running around the outfield or anything, but Craig Counsell said pregame, came in today. The hamstring was just a little sore. So they were going to just try to get him the day, see how he feels as the day go on. But the idea was to get him the full day off. Like Counsell said that obviously when it happened, he was concerned. Everyone was a little concerned seeing it happen because it was a very awkward landing on the base for him. But he thinks he'll be fine. They wanted to give him the day. Just some hamstring soreness from that landing, and obviously the hope is that he's available Friday. They get him the day today. You obviously have the full team off day Thursday, so a couple days of rest for him. Nothing that Craig Counsell is super concerned with now. We'll see where things go, but I think I don't think they're concerned that he's going to be out. I think you can reasonably expect that he could be back in there Friday, but we'll obviously see when they get to the south side a couple days from now.
Ryan, today we saw Javier Assad go 4 innings. Had a little bit of a slowdown there in that second inning, a couple of walks. We all sat here, though, and agreed that taking him out after the 4th inning when he was hovering around the 80-pitch mark, I think he might have been right at it or somewhere right below, right above it, was the right move to pull him out. Did Counsell give any indication of maybe he wanted Assad to go a little bit longer? Obviously, he probably would have liked a 5-inning game out of him. Didn't get it today. Did he give any reason in particular as to why he didn't let him go a little bit longer? Were there indications? Was there a fatigue factor? Did he look like he was losing a little bit of control out there? Anything like that?
Well, I think the control has been sort of an issue for Assad for a little while now. Counsell pointed to not specifically of like why he took him out. Like that wasn't the question that was asked, but did point to just the fact that he's seen Assad struggle to get ahead of hitters, and that's obviously leading to a lot of pitches. There's a couple of long innings there. Limited the damage. What was an inning, a run in the first and then a run in the second, so limited the damage. but that it is leading to higher pitch counts. And so that's something that I think we saw when Assad was getting deeper into games and felt like they were giving him more length. Seemed like the control is a little bit better, and as far as just getting ahead of hitters, getting ahead in counts, was better at doing it. So yeah, that's something that Craig Counsell did point to today about just not or struggling to get ahead of hitters, and that's obviously an issue if you can't get ahead of hitters and you're out after 4 innings. Your starting pitcher you want your starting pitcher to be able to go longer than that. So I think that's just figuring out how to get Javier Assad back to being able to do that more consistently, give them more consistent length, get ahead of consisters more consistently. That's the goal right now for them, because while I would say the rotation overall is still in a good spot. Guys are pitching pretty well overall. Making sure that Assad is still there, even in the back end of that rotation, and giving them the kind of length he was giving them in the first half of the season is important if they're going to try to make this push over the last month and 3/4 now of the season.
It was announced before the game today that Albert Alzolay was going to have Tommy John in jeopardy to basically miss most of 2025 as well. What did Counsell have to say? Like his thoughts on that? I guess obviously it's sad because like obviously he was great last year, 20+ saves for the Cubs, and just on social media alone, like you can tell that he loves the organization, he loves Cubs fans, all these things. He tweeted during the game today, that the road to recovery starts today. Says the fist is gonna come back, all these things. But it's a long road. Tommy John is a major injury. I mean, it used to be an injury that you couldn't come back from, but thanks to technology and modern medicine and stuff, it's like a normalized injury now. It feels like, but yeah. Would anyone, I guess in general, not even just Counsell, but just anyone, talk about Albert after the game or before the game?
So obviously we talked to Counsell pregame. Announced the UCL reconstruction surgery, Tommy John, and that's going to keep. Obviously, it's going to end his season this year. Depending on, we don't have a timetable yet, and Counsell didn't want to speculate on a timetable. So we didn't give a timetable. Obviously, he said he acknowledged it's going to be long. It's going to be a long recovery process, as we know with Tommy John surgeries. But if you give it a general timetable of 12 to 18 months or something like that, obviously timetables vary depending on who you're talking to, but something like that, you're looking at next August for him at the earliest a return. 2025 is definitely in jeopardy for him. Right now, it would seem like he may not pitch in 2025. I don't want to say he won't. I'm not reporting anything. It's just the timing wise, it would be very hard and maybe a little bit quick if he's able to pitch and really contribute to their bullpen next season. Counsell acknowledged there's a long road of rehab prior to this from the right flexor strain going back to May, and Counsell acknowledged he did make a big effort and put in a lot of work to try to come back and pitch this year. It's been almost 3 months since he pitched last, and even around that time when he was struggling, Craig Counsell was sitting there very, continuing to express confidence that Albert Alzolay would be pitching big innings and getting big outs for this ball club. Even when the struggles were coming, Craig would still, talk about that confidence that he had in Albert to get back to that level he was at last season. And now he's not going to be able to do it. Now he's not going to be able to pitch for them this season. They managed to piece together a bullpen that's had a lot of success over the last month and a half, 2 months of baseball. But now, Albert's going to be gone for a while, and that's what he can do when he's on. We've seen it, and so that is a blow to just where the bullpen picture, right? I feel like they have confidence they can manage that as they have the last couple months, but it is a blow to the bullpen picture. So I think, like you said, social media wise, and I think everyone feels for a guy who loves this organization, does present a lot of energy, whether it's on the field or in that clubhouse. A guy that's a very positive guy, a guy that has a passion for the game, again, provides that energy to a ball club. And he hasn't been able to do, he's been in Arizona for a month and a half now, so he hasn't been being able to just have that in the clubhouse, let alone on the field. You feel for a guy that is now looking at a long road of recovery, especially after going out and not pitching well. I'm sure ate at him for a little while there. So to have that be the way your season ended, and then now you're going to a long road of recovery, it's tough. And I guess you just can only wish the guy well in a speedy recovery. That's at this point.
Now there are certain positives to this. On a positive note for ALLCITY, though, this is an injury and a surgery that has become so common now, and he has youth on his side, where hopefully he does make a full recovery and he's able to come back to the major leagues at some point, whether that's next year or the year after. But think about how far this surgery has come. You're having high schoolers have it purposely done now, guys who are going
do it preemptively.
Yeah. So this is a surgery where it is a major surgery, and it is a crushing blow to a guy who is in his mid to late 20s, who is trying to get a paycheck, get a big contract, make money, make a living playing baseball. But he does have the age on his side, and he does have modern day science on his side. This happens a lot to pitchers in the league now. Obviously hoping for the best, but there are some positives. It's not a career-ending injury like it was before, Cody, as you pointed out. So all the best to Adbert, though. It's always hard to see a guy get hurt, a guy who puts his whole heart and soul into the game. So best of luck to him in his road to recovery.
You guys have anything else? I don't.
The only Ryan, the only other thing I was curious about is we talked before you came on about the offense and how the turnaround has been very much driven by the offense, and whether it's pre or post game, any conversations with some of the hitters just about like how they are feeling and kind of where they're at these days.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them are. I think Dansby's hitting pretty well the last couple of weeks now. PCA is another guy there. Christian Betancourt, I think someone said he's like 6-14 since he came back. I think he's hitting well. And obviously, he's not the starting catcher. Like him and Amaya are splitting that right now. I think I saw that 6-14 somewhere. But I mean, 2 doubles today for him, batting ninth and a walk. Talking to Counsell about the offense, one of the things he does point to is those guys at the bottom of the order, and we talked about this yesterday as well. Those guys at the bottom of the order helping get things going, right? Especially Betancourt right there hitting ninth today, just helping the lineup continue to roll over, getting guys on base for the guys at the top of the order. That's huge, and I think the last couple weeks there's definitely been some duds in there, right? Like Monday was bad offensively, but I think overall you're seeing a lot more consistency from the offense, run scoring, getting guys on base, putting together a little more crooked numbers, or just stringing runs together throughout a game. I think you've seen that more consistently over the last few weeks now, and part of that is those guys at the bottom of the order just hitting better, because when you do have holes at the bottom of the order, you're not having guys on base for your top of the order. But when you do that, you turn it over to your best hitters, who are, as Counsell has pointed out, like you want your best hitters getting the most at bats. They're at the top of your order. So if you can turn the lineup around to your best hitters with guys on base, that's so key in helping the offense run smoothly and continuing that cycle back around to the top of the order. So I think that's one thing that you're seeing with the offense, is just a little more consistency from guys at the bottom of the order, and helping just them producing when it felt for a while this season that those guys weren't doing it very consistently.
All right. We have a super chat before we get out of here from Zach. $2. Thank you, my friend. He asked, Cubs have to end August. How many games over 500? Well, it's August 7th. They're 3 under now. I personally feel like they at least need to be 5 over.
I would say 3 to 5 over. Yeah.
I think best case scenario.
You're playing a lot of bad teams.
Yeah.
Best
case scenario, more than 5, but at least 5 games over 500. And, you want to get real delusional about the division, then I would say 10 games over 500. You'd have to go on a real long winning streak, man.
Yeah.
They've won 2 in a row. They won 5 out of 7. I don't know.
That would give you a margin for error. You'd only be able to lose if you wanted to be 10 over, that's a difference of 13 games right now. You'd have to lose maybe 1 or 2, 3 games the rest of the month.
Well, listen, last year this team was 10 under and found themselves 10 over at one point.
Yes,
so
they did.
That's true.
They
did.
I think 3 to 5 over is much more
attainable
for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Well, who knows? The one we talk about how all the games that they gave away in May and June, a way to make up those games is to not only go on a winning streak of 7, 8, 9, 10 games, but to like sweep some series. You know what I mean? Like, you should sweep the White Sox. You have no excuse to not sweep White Sox. And then Cleveland or the Blue Jays. I mean, the Blue Jays are not a good baseball team. To me, you should sweep the Blue Jays. At the very least, win the series. But that's how you make up a game that you gave away, is sweeping the Blue Jays. You know what I mean?
They're going to need some of that for sure. That's ultimately then I see Dave in the chat. To get to 10 over, you're 13-3 for the rest of the month. So,
credit to me. Look at my math.
That'd be so wild.
Yeah, that's quite a month. So
and they've lost 2 games, so they would go.
I don't know if that's does he mean 13-3 from here or 13? Yeah, that's got to be from today.
From today, yeah.
So
and they're 5-2 in the month of August.
Yeah, I don't know, but
So
I think
to lose 5 games in the month of August.
Could they climb to 3 over by September 1st? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But I will say this again: no excuse to not sweep the White Sox. Just absolutely none. If they really do, if the roster, the clubhouse still has this belief that they can make the postseason, can't lose the White Sox.
And they are going up against Garrett Crochet, who is also up against a pitch clock here at this moment in time, where he's not going to get the full reign of
he
pitches.
Might only pitch 3 innings against you. Yeah.
So there is an opportunity there. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it lined up nicely for them.
Sarah brought up on our YouTube channel or on the video the CHGO White Sox takeover. They didn't take over on the 9th with the Cubs in town. Kevin, you said last night you were going to go, right?
I think I'm going to go. Yeah, I think I'm going to go on Friday. Yes. So
you can get that ticket to that takeover at allchgo.com. I feel like there will be a mixture of White Sox and Cubs fans who go to that takeover for us. So, anyway, we're doing a rare Saturday podcast. Braggs is the producer, and then I'm leading. Ryan's going on vacation, and I'm doing it with my good pal Alex Pat. So tune in for Saturday post game with me, Braggs, and my good friend Alex Pat, and Jared, who will be doing Ryan's job.
I'll join you from the ballpark on Saturday. Yeah.
Ryan, where are you going?
Mexico.
No, that's not correct. I'm going to Vegas. No, Luke's in Mexico. No, I'll be in Vegas this weekend.
I just assumed he was just going to switch spots with Luke.
Oh. You assumed I was going to Mexico because I'm Mexican, Cody?
No. I did not say that, Ryan. Don't insinuate things. That's not. I just assumed he's going to Mexico because that's where Luke goes every time he decides to leave.
Vegas with the boys.
Going to Vegas. All right. Well,
have a good time, man.
Enjoy. Don't blow all your money, so that way you can come back and do your job. That's all that matters.
We'll see. I might be living on the street by the time I come back.
Okay. Anyway, Cubs win 8-2.
Yep.
I don't even know if I said that at the beginning of the show. See, this is why I miss Luke. Like, Luke will say the score. I'm pretty sure I said it.
Luke knows how to start and land the plane.
You got it now, though. Yeah.
Okay. Cubs win 8-2. They won 5 out of 7. They take the series against the Twins. No show tomorrow. No show Friday. But me, my good friend Alex Pat, and Jared, and I guess Braggs, will be do the post game Saturday night. Post game Saturday night.
Oh yeah.
Bye, baby. Let's go. We'll see you then. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast. Fly W.
We all silly like the mayor.